jumping on board is one of the Bulls guys, forward.
Sidlow.
No.
Clough.
No.
Ferguson. Alverson.
No.
Danny Addy.
No.
Rich Lovegrove.
No.
Kurt Haggerty.
One of the ones who you signed either this year or last year that used to play in Super League but not really play.
God. Mitch Clark? No, not Mitch Clark. You can't have Mitch Clark, he's amazing. I can't remember.
Anyway.
I've pretty much listed them all now.
Someone at Bradford's one of the players. The guy who used to be at Huddersfield.
The guy who used to be at Huddersfield?
Yeah. Forward who used to be at Huddersfield.
Antonio Cafuzzi?
No.
Chris Kopchak?
That plays for you.
Right.
Used to be at Huddersfield. Anyway, someone will tell us. But I'm sure Brian Davies is like, what are you fucking doing, you two idiots? You don't have a clue about anything.
The fuck did we sign from Huddersfield?
Anyway, it doesn't matter. That's one of the players. So they're obviously looking at players who are on the fringe of championship squads as well as maybe a couple of the Canadian people. You'd have to think Rhys Jacks would be a favourite name on the list well, just for like that commercial tie-in with the national team that already exists in the Lamport Stadium. Toronto's a brilliant city.
Well, this is it, and this is where they'll pick people up. It'll be the quality of life and that experience that lads will, the lads.
But they won't. They'll be playing over here. They'll be based over here, training over here.
Yeah, but they'll be playing 4 games over there.
Yeah,
and, living that lifestyle over there.
Of course, dragging part-time League One players to do a weekend turnaround to play a game in Toronto. That's not going to be very much fun for those lot, and they're probably going to dominate at home if they're going to be there for 4 weeks, and the other teams are just in and out.
Yeah.
But whilst they're there, they'll get to. Toronto's a great city, and it's great that rugby league can grow in a country that probably could work. It just seems like a major stretch of the imagination for it to come off long term.
Jay Pitts.
No.
Steve Crossley?
No.
I've nothing then. I think it'll work.
I hope it does.
Let's be positive.
I hope it does, but I
think it'll work.
I also hope we can get Scotland playing in Scotland. I also hope we can have a Cumbrian presence that can compete for places in Super League.
Yeah.
I also hope.
There's always been an argument that
we can have actual professionalism in these, these non-Heartlands teams we have already.
We're definitely all fur coat and no knickers. But that's been the way we've been for a long time now. We've got, these are the ideas that we have, and Cumbria suffers, and Scotland playing Cumbria. If
it brings some more commercial revenue to the sport over here, that'd be good. But have the Catalan Dragons brought any more commercial revenue to the sport over here?
I can't say. I don't have access to the accounts, Mark. I've no idea. We never know.
I'm cautious. I'm cautious about it.
Yeah.
But I hope it works.
It exposes rugby league to an audience that that exists in America for impact sport, doesn't it? Right. That is the news from around the world of rugby league, well and truly covered. Let's take a look back now at round 12 of Super League. Okay, so round 12 of Super League, Mark. It's been a pretty interesting round, pretty exciting round of rugby league, all told, this weekend. Starting on Thursday night with the game down at the DW, and it was a drop goal-a-thon for the two sides.
The second time Wigan have played in a game with 3 drop goals this season.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
It's remarkable in itself, isn't it?
Yeah,
really?
Exactly. And it would have been 4 if Danny Brough had converted his first one as well. There was a fourth attempt, I should say.
Danny Brough had 2 misses, didn't he? One at the end of the first half, when Wigan should have received a penalty for the young hooker being 4 or 5 yards offside when he tackled the man, and one in the second half that was charged down by Tony Clubb when Huddersfield should have received a penalty for Tony Clubb being about 2 yards offside when he set off to charge it down.
Yes.
So yeah,
you were there. What did you make of the game?
I'm pleased we won. I think our attack was diabolical in the first half, but taking nothing away from Huddersfield's defence. That works really hard, and clearly there's things starting to come back together for them. They also benefited from an in-form Leroy Cudjoe, who hasn't been affected by the dip in Huddersfield this season, you would say. And he was able to run over the young edge that he was playing up against, which helped them somewhat.
Yeah, immediately when the teams were read out, I looked at that and thought, that's where Huddersfield are going to play. That's where they'll put the majority of their pressure.
Yeah, I think it was a little bit similar to the week before against Castleford. After the break, Wigan were far more organised, disciplined, and I guess just executed much better in the second half than their opposition, just like they did the week before. I know everyone seems to think that's got something to do with John Bateman asking Joe Cobb why the ruck speed was so slow in the first half. What I would point out is not a single person, not a single observer of this game has said that Huddersfield's ruck speed was acceptable in the first half.
It wasn't something that anyone commented on during the first half either.
It did sat around us watching the game.
Yeah. Well, the thing I'd say to you about that is that Joe Cobb...
When we didn't know that Bateman had spoken to Joe Cobb at half-time, we knew that we could see that he was not giving any penalties for lying on or messing around that Huddersfield were doing constantly. I'm not saying Wigan wouldn't have done any of it either, because that's how it happens. But
yeah, Wigan do like to slow the ruck down as well.
More legitimately though than I feel Huddersfield do. I think Huddersfield are one of the craftier teams at it, and I think they have been for some time. Do you remember the first ever episode of... Not the first ever episode of Super League Pod, but the first ever game we reviewed on Super League Pod was Huddersfield slowing the ruck down relentlessly against Wigan in Game 1 of that season in 2014.
Of course, yeah, they beat you that year, didn't they?
Yeah, but...
No, I'm reminding myself of the game. No, I'm not bringing it up to take the piss. You're right, they beat you on that, and that was something we discussed. I'd say this about the referee, it's Joe Cobb, and he referees at Championship level, and you give more leeway for slow ruck speed at the Championship level. They just do. The referees do let a slower ruck go in the Championship, so he's probably inadvertently thinking, well, this is fairly normal, this is fairly standard, and then someone's gone to, fucking hell, Joe, we can play quicker than that. And maybe he's picked. And I don't think it's had an influence. I think as much of an influence was Wigan realised what they needed to do. To get the penalties, you would have to make sure when their hands are around the ball comes out. Otherwise, you're not going to get them. So make sure the ball comes out. Dan Sargentson did it twice when hands were on the ball to slow it down deliberately. He let the ball go. So actually, Wigan got the penalties that they weren't getting in the first half. Wigan were also trying to stand up faster rather than trying to fight on the floor. Because Wigan adapted their tactics as much as the referee. Well, the referee didn't change how he refereed the game because he was still like ludicrously inconsistent with his offsides for both sides. Yeah, and that's the mark of a Championship referee as well. And the hands in at the ruck thing as well. Again, that's something that in the Championship, and it's not just Joe Cobb. It's just something that you see in the Championship that you've got to make it really obvious because there's so many times hands go in and then there's messing around and it just doesn't get pinged. For whatever reason. So I wasn't surprised that it was something that...
Shall we go through the 7-1 penalty count in the second half and explain why Paul Anderson can talk out his fucking arse all he wants, but actually what he wants to do is talk to his players about not smacking people around the head one play after a team warning's been given? And say whose fault was it? John Bateman talking to a referee like a captain's allowed to do, or his players losing their marbles?
I think he's just trying to keep his boys out of the picture in the media. I don't think he actually thinks that. I think that behind closed doors, the fucking divot that got him... Who was it that got sent off?
It was Mason who got that first yellow card.
Mason got that first
and
yellow card.
And the second yellow card's a yellow card all day, every game you go to. The whole,
I agree. And I'm telling you now that the divot that does that gets himself absolutely royally roasted. But Paul Anderson, although I suppose he does sometimes come out and roast his players, doesn't he? In my mind, when I heard him talking at the end of the game, I just thought, well... he's been a coach. He's covering for his team, and he's keeping it in the changing room. And fair play to him, even though he sounds like a pillock.
Legitimately, with 13 men on the field, his team was defending well enough to possibly win that game. But the reason they had less than 13 men on the field for two periods is not because the referee did anything wrong. It's because Huddersfield players did something wrong.
Yeah, I agree with that.
It's not because John Bateman did anything wrong. Yeah. No one talked about Danny Brough shouting at the referee to have another look at a decision that the referees all got correct when Brian Braley went out of touch, knocked the ball out of touch when Charlie tackled him as well. Yeah. Danny Brough had a go at him to check that again. I'm not saying he was out of line with what he did, but it was forceful enough in terms of it was a captain talking to a referee that made the referee do something the referee didn't need to do. Yeah. And yet we're not criticising that because that's not got the anyone but brigade fucking slavering at the TV at the idea that Wigan gets slagged off about something. The other thing with all this as well is The charge down, what did you make of the charge down? Because that's the next big contentious decision, isn't it? Or was it a charge down, or wasn't it a charge down?
Tell me back, just remind me.
So right near the end of the game, when the Huddersfield player came steaming up in the line, threw his arms up in the air, but then turned his back a little bit on the ball.
That's a charge down.
To me, it's a charge down. To Huddersfield fans, maybe it's not, but it certainly wasn't a ludicrous decision.
The intent is... Look, it's a manipulation of the rules, isn't it?
Yeah.
If he runs out, and if he does that, it's a charge down. And if he's savvy enough to turn his body 180 degrees so that in effect the same shape is still there blocking the ball, that's not a charge down. It's bollocks. He was trying to charge the ball down. What else is he doing running out there to do that?
It's not like he was backing away from the ball, was it?
Precisely.
But,
no, I know it was that. Yeah.
But even if it wasn't a charge down and the referee made the wrong call on that, which obviously as a Wigan fan I'm not going to say he did, but some people might. The narrative is totally fucked up by the fact that the officials missed a Huddersfield player being out in touch on a couple of sets before that, which would have given Wigan the same field position that gave Wigan, so Wigan would have had the same opportunity to win the game.
Yeah.
And that part of the narrative doesn't fit what people want to say about referees cheating for Wigan or bias towards the big sides or whatever. However they want to say, whatever Paul Anderson wants to say, whatever all the anyone buts want to say.
Yeah.
Where's that in your narrative? Where's Ryan Braley knocking it on in the first half in front of his own sticks, and then them going up the other end? Where's that in your narrative? Where's Joe Cobb giving a try for a player whose foot was in touch clearly, but not giving a try for Wigan's one, which was a 50-50 call? And I've got no issue with it going up no try and coming back no try. If it had gone up try, it would have come back try. Just like the Jake Connor one in the reverse fixture earlier in the season.
Yeah.
And that they even themselves out, those things.
I've got to be honest, I didn't see this as being a massively contentious game. I just, now that we're talking about it, I can see it's got the wind in your sails, mate. I just thought it was a bit of a drab. Not drab. That's not the word. There was stuff going on. I just didn't feel thrilled by it as a proposition for whatever reason.
For Huddersfield, a few players played pretty well.
Yeah.
One thing I'd say is Michael Lawrence is fucking huge in real life.
Big human.
He looks even bigger than he looks on the TV. And Aaron Murphy, also similarly, got a bit of a belly going on.
Yeah.
So not similarly, because Michael Lawrence looks like an absolute beast of an athlete. Aaron Murphy's looking a bit out of shape.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why he had to lie on, but or maybe it was just because Joe Cobb was cheating. But
first of all, Joe Cobb wasn't cheating.
On the other side of the fence for Wigan, probably the only person who really shone again, or two players who shone, was John Bateman and Anthony Gelling.
Yeah.
Two players who I keep talking about.
Have you seen
the music video?
The music, I just wrote Stan across the top of his name. That's fucking hilarious.
Yeah, it's brilliant, isn't it?
He's on my list for dinner party guests. You know, you do like your 5 people that you'd invite to a dinner party, and have like some politicians and some famous people, and then I just bring Gels along to like get pissed and shit on the table, and he's just such good value, isn't he, Anthony Gelling?
I don't know if it's part of the course he's been doing or something that he's put together.
I think it must. That was my immediate assumption.
Pretty polished, wasn't it?
It was very, very good, and he just rinses out Ryan Sutton as well, which is hilarious. It was good to see Ryan Sutton playing as well, because he was my pick for the young up and comer at Wigan at the start of the season, and I thought he did well.
He did okay, and actually, some of the other Lee Mossop probably another person who did pretty well.
Lovely to see John Bateman captaining the side. Is that the first time he's captained them?
To my knowledge, yeah, it was, and he was brilliant. As he has, he's got to be in the Man of Steel conversation. Yeah. But yeah, Anthony Gelling and him. Yet still, people were slagging off Gelling for the one mistake he made.
I don't know how many awesome offloads did he get away, and how many times did he get his hand?
Wigan had 2 breaks in the game. He set up one with a quick hands, and he made the other.
Yeah.
So I don't know what Wigan fans want. Anyway, I've talked enough about Wigan. I'll be pissing people off now.
Tell me about the stats then. How did the Wigan side contrive to win this one statistically, Mark?
Well, the Giants won on efficiency numbers, nearly a metre per carry, better average gain, and 2% better team tackle success. Mm-hmm. They also had an extra break, 3-2, and 1 fewer handling error in the game. Wigan, though, had 84 more carries, which is enough possession to win 10 games thing Anderson was pointing at, and from that they were able to make 384 more metres. That Wigan had 4 goal line dropouts, 1 to none, 12 more successful offloads, and a 5-10 penalty count in their favour. They were all the numbers that helped towards those extra carries. Mm-hmm. 2 tries scored with an extra man helped Wigan get the win too. Very evenly matched sides with 13 on 13. Neither had a lot of creativity aside from.
Did Huddersfield not take the lead with 12 men at one point?
Yes, they did. Ryan Brady